Yeah, if I had intro music, this is where it would have played. I always did that on stage. You guys do that? A lot of intro music. Say hello, please, where you're coming from. I see a bunch of names on here. Really good to see everybody. Yeah, Fred, some Showbiz Blueprinters, some folks who aren't Showbiz Blueprinters, all over the world, and really good to be here again live. Trying to do a couple of these a week, and it's an important time. So, welcome. Let me know you're hearing me. I think last time we started with about a minute and a half of me doing some pantomime, but everything looks like it's the right meters are moving today. So, Jason, Gary, Fred, Andy, UK, excellent, man. Oh, I love that. It's funny, the power of this. I live amidst nothing in the Sierra Mountains, very small town, and I do love the power of this, especially in this time, how we're connecting so much virtually. So fantastic. Hey, Jason, good to see you, man. And no one said I'm moving my mouth and nothing's coming out, so I'm going to assume it's good. Welcome to everybody. Really pleasure to be here. I have an important training today. You may have come here through a Facebook ad or, I don't know, a posting on Facebook or an email if you're on my list and I sent you an email. You can go to showbizblueprint.com, jump on an email list. I'll let you know when I'm doing things like this live, and also any other trainings, ways to help you book your act, everything that's coming up. You can get on the list there. But I said in that email that I was on a mastermind yesterday. I was actually leading this mastermind, 30 entrepreneurs from around the world from so many different businesses. And throughout the entire thing, I was taking notes, writing, filling up this 8x4 whiteboard I have in my office, just with ideas about how all of this pertained to entertainers. And then I spent the rest of the day and a tiny bit of the night, till about 8 o'clock, putting together a presentation I wanted to give you guys, because really there's so much coming out of other markets right now that beautifully fits into us as entertainers. So I've tied everything, some of those lessons, some of the ones that I've been teaching and using my whole career, into this presentation. So I plan on this one being a standalone that's really good. In fact, this is a bit of preamble. While people land here, I'm going to do an official start for this lesson in a second. So thanks for being here. Yeah, and throughout this training, if you have thoughts, concerns, questions, comments, deeper clarification, drop it into the notes here. Again, this whole dang thing is showing only, seems like a couple people get on Facebook, on YouTube, start commenting, and then the Facebook goes away. This happened the other day. Let me check one thing super quick. Just make sure something's still up. Let me just turn this off and back on. Okay. Somebody drop a comment in Facebook. We can see if it came back on. I did just restart the Facebook, but no sign that it wasn't working. But not seeing any on here from Facebook. And the other day I went onto the Facebook feed and just saw so many on there, and I was wishing, wow, I wish I could have brought some of those into the conversation. So a little bit of a failing of the software here. In fact, before I get this going, I think I'll just bring Facebook up on my little iPad here so I can just I can kind of keep an eye on this, as long as it doesn't start shooting audio at me. Yeah, I'd like to do that. Hey, one more thing. What are you guys doing that feels really good with your time? Love to see some comments on that come in. Let me know a couple things you guys are doing with your time. And I think I have the comments at least just coming on here like a regular person right now on Facebook, as if I were just watching it. Very good. Yeah, they're coming in here, but not coming in. Good. Glenn, lockdown in American Canyon. Michael Rossman, excellent. Good to see you guys here. And yeah, I'll put this back on even though I'm not getting the comments through. Not getting the comments through my little fancy machine here. I'm going to do a behind-the-scenes studio look, but look at this. This is a cool platform that gives me all the comments coming in here. But for some reason, it started showing only YouTube. Shows about five Facebook comments at the beginning, and then that's it. We go YouTube only. All right, good. Let's get into this training. Nice group of folks here, and I'll pop back and take a look at the Facebook comments as we can. Anyway, good to see you guys. Glenn, Simon, Miguel, David. Yeah, really nice. Sean, AJ, excellent, man. AJ and NJ, look at this, you guys. You can't write stuff like this. Nice comment from AJ, and then right under that, NJ. So it's perfect. Must mean it's time to go. All right, everybody. Good. Let's dig into this training here. Let's talk about 10 rules for success in the new normal. The new normal. Here we are. I've got to talk about this a little bit on this Facebook page, on this Facebook and YouTube channel. I've got to talk about this a little bit over the last couple of weeks. And if you want to know more just about hands on the ground, ways we're doing it, some of my other thoughts about what performers could be doing this time, scroll back and watch those after this. But for now, let's stay on this one because this dug in deep, as I shared at the top. The current culture soundtrack, you guys, I'm telling you, it is strikingly similar to a Google search, meaning that if you keep looking hard enough, you'll find whatever it is that you want to believe. You can keep going next page on Google until you find something that says drinking chlorine is actually good for you, or washing your teeth with radiator fluid. It doesn't matter. The deeper you go, you can find more and more out there. And the problem with this is what you want to believe can't drive your business. And if that has anything to do with what's driving your business, you're kind of in big trouble. The work that we do as entrepreneurs, as entertainers, it has to layer our secret sauce, who we are as entertainers. That has to be layered on top of the historical and current reality. Don't forget history, lest it shall repeat itself. And then there's a current reality that's going on too. Our work is to layer our secret sauce, what we bring as entertainers, on top of both of those to create the next version of whatever life is going to be. There are no live events right now. That's a given, and we don't know when they'll return. Reality, current reality. No part of our world, our economy, or life is untouched by this viral event. You can't find a single place that is untouched by what's happening right now in the world. There have always been game-changing events. And this one, you guys, this one is just like all the others. My entertainment business thrived through, last count 6, but I think I've even come up with a few more, by following certain rules. And funny, some of those are SARS. We had those. We had MERS. We had the dot-com bust. We've had the Y2K. Y2K, the biggest non-event in the history of man. But I'll tell you one thing, you guys, anyone who was around, and I see a bunch of names of folks who were here on Y2K, it seemed like a pretty big deal at the time until about noon on January 1st. But the lead up didn't look a whole lot different than this, about everything is going to fall apart. 9/11, may we never forget that. But boy, shutdown of life, of economy, of what was normal, what we always counted on, shut down. And then numerous financial recessions throughout the time. So all of that has been happening, and it will happen. Some of that is our historical reality, and a lot of it informs our current reality. Your entertainment business can thrive during this. There's not a doubt about that. And one thing I will tell you for sure, this is across the board with every human being. We come out of these situations different than we fell into them. There's no such thing as same as before. All right, the meek and the weak and those who are soon to disappear concentrate on getting back to the same as it was before, as things were before. Doesn't happen, can't happen. Big changes happen. Cultural silently depends on the creatives, the likes of me and you, in times of trouble. It always has and it always will. Silently depends on us. So, that's a big responsibility, and I want to put that right up front because that's what we're digging into here. And I want to tell you 10 rules for success. And if you weren't here at the very top of this, I just shared, this came from a mastermind I was on. I led a mastermind with a couple other guys, 30 entrepreneurs around the world yesterday, and the whole time I was writing notes about their business, these different businesses. So every business was represented there. It was unbelievable. And I just kept thinking, what's this? How does this relate to entertainers? How does this relate to the important job that we've always held in culture, in society? And the lessons are many. So let's dig into a handful of these. First, I want to just warn you, if you can bring it within yourself to open up your mind, do that little mind blow emoji, and even adopt 3 of these, you'll pop out of the COVID-19 with a new lease on life. Guaranteed. And a spoiler alert, this goes from my days of when I wrote that, where's that book? That book over there, 30 Days Sugar Free. I used to always tell people, warning, change takes change. Yeah, changed orders that thing. Yeah, this is great. I want to share this on this. Look at this. If you don't think I'm committed to the idea of change takes change, that's it. That, my friends, is guaranteed the truth. You cannot stay the same and change. So, a little spoiler alert for these 10 rules. If the idea of change scares you and you're willing not to do that, zone out. There's a lot of other stuff on the interwebs to watch as we go forward here. All right, let's dig into these. I'm going to run through these fairly quick pace. I'll also be watching your comments as you go through this. And if you have something to add to this conversation, counterpoint, something to add in, bring it in. I'd love to bring it into the discussion as well. All right, leverage your assets. This is something a lot of really smart businesses are doing right now. I don't think any of us, somebody posted yesterday, if I hear from one more big corporate company about how they have our back during the COVID-19 virus, they're going to throw up. To that end, I want to tell you one thing. You are loaded with assets that you can use to actually help your customers. The power of leveraging is remarkable. So, client list. Stay in touch with your clients. How do you do that? What does it look like? It looks a million different ways, and I'm going to cover it through some of these other rules. Online offerings, we're all seeing so much of this. People bringing music. I've gotten to watch some of my favorite artists. There was a video the other day of Ron Wood holding a 12... Ron Wood from the Rolling Stones holding a 12-step meeting, pieces of a 12-step meeting. Ron Wood from the Rolling Stones sitting in a 12-step meeting with Ron Wood from the Rolling Stones. Hey, if you don't see the opportunity here, not looking closely enough. So online offerings are remarkable. Find ways to leverage your assets. We can dig into some of those. I will tell you that snail mail, a letter landing on your client, on your prospect's desk right now, it's not just a surprise. It's not just a pleasant surprise. It is mind-boggling. All right, and the post office still delivers and picks up mail. You don't even have to go out and violate your social distancing. What's at risk for you dropping 3, 5, 10 mails to past clients, short letters, handwritten, postcard, something about their family, something about the amazing memory you have of working at their event. Dig into more of that as we keep going. Lessons, we carry so many gifts as entertainers, it's nonstop what we can offer. I think I've probably already been on 3 or 4 live casts for homeschoolers where I'm teaching people to juggle. Doesn't take but real time of me. There's 0 time involved in that. It's not like I have to go, oh God, where am I going to fit that into my crazy ass schedule? Where can you show up? Where can you provide lessons that add value to your community, to parents, to kids, to organizations? I didn't put this one on the slide, but I started to talk about it the other day and I didn't get deeply into it enough, so I'll just add that into this lesson. There are, pick a number, well over 100 companies that are doing really well selling products on the web. I just want to pick a low number. All right, thousands. So many of these, some of the big players right now are looking for ways to contact their customers, to send a message. Paul Gertner, one of the members of Showbiz Blueprint alumni, talked about how he was making short videos to help his customers let their customers know about the change. So where can we step back? Where can we play bigger? Where can we not worry about, this BS of giving away our talent? Instead, where can we show up bigger and better than ever? There are web companies out there right now who would love your creativity in delivering a message to them. I have a phone case that my son made a quick video for once, led to a contract of making 5 real commercials for this web company. So think about what your skills. Don't ever confuse yourself with anything less than a superhero. And right now there are opportunities abound for you to show up as that superhero. Good. Custom, forget about copy and paste for now. How can you bring back a memory to somebody? How can you do something that's specific for them? That ties into 2 of these that are on this page. Can you guess what they are? Yeah, snail mail, show up custom, let them know something that mattered. And then lessons, like I just got done talking about. How can you create something for a school, for parents, for a community, for a company that is custom just for them? And then parties, virtual is the new real. Virtual is the new real. For a little while, we're in the new normal. We're going to go back to getting to hug people, look people in the eye without clicking a button that says connect here. And I can't wait for that time personally. But right now, there is an opportunity for you to show up at virtual parties. There are so many virtual parties. Have you guys heard about these? People having dinner parties, cocktail parties. Who's going to be the first magician, stand-up comedian, singer, juggler to book something like that? I don't care if it's $100. What would it be like to show up at one of these virtual parties and do 10, 15 minutes? Freaking insane. Yeah, those are the opportunities that exist now, right? That's the gold rush right now. So many opportunities like that. Rule number 2, positive versus negative ratio. I want to talk to you a second about realigning your ratio and how you live between these two poles, which are omnipresent right now, right? As we live our lives, they are as big as can be. 8-to-1 ratio, it's totally doable, and that's input versus input and output, right? We expose our mind and we expose others who are in our company to an 8-to-1 positive to negative ratio. And if you want to go even higher, good for you. You know, you could eliminate the negative. That's a little bit Buddha, but you know, it can be done. 8-to-1 is completely doable. And that number is based off a big study that's been running for quite a while. And 8-to-1 is completely achievable, and it doesn't really even affect you. As long as it's in your consciousness, it can start happening. We get what we think about. It's not just a good idea. It is the law. What you focus your energy on is what you attract. You'll become radically more attractive if you can live in an 8-to-1 positive to negative ratio, especially during this time. This gives you 20/20 vision of possibilities. I hear from so many people right now and say, I just don't know what to do. If you're living in the negative, if that 8-to-1 is reversed and you're doing 8 negatives every positive, it is no doubt, it's no surprise that you can't see the possibilities right now. If you can shift to living in the 8-to-1 positive to negatives, this place is going to look like a buffet of opportunity to you. And by this place, I mean the world that we're living in right now. So find it within yourself to stretch that. It also reduces stress, anxiety, depression, all these lovely pieces of our human form, and resilience. It becomes the default attitude. If you can live in an 8-to-1 ratio of positive to negative, resilience will literally become the overriding, and you'll have to think to do something negative instead of having to think to do something positive. Yeah, and it's absolutely true. It's kind of phenomenal how that happens. Oh, this is funny. What it is, positive versus negative, reminds me of your success bar. Huh, that's cool. I love that. Yeah. Really good. Let me check the comments real quick. This is one time. Yeah, that's funny. This is a good point. Who's that from? Aquil 7. I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah, these are great, you guys. Be reading the comments on these. If you're on Facebook, check out the YouTube. If you're on YouTube, vice versa. Really good stuff going on here. Hey, and good for Evil Dan, man. I love this. I'm writing my second book for the public. No title yet, but we'll have 6 short stories with a twist. Hey, wow. That's one of those very cool things that you probably told yourself you never had time to do. I love it. Way to dig in. All right, very good. So the positive versus negative, all of those pieces. If you take one picture of a slide, grab your camera and do a slide of that real quick. This is one you're going to want to have on. This is one, if you're brave enough, tattoo this stuff on your chest, your forehead, would you? Just dig into it. Excuse me, no coughing fits. No coughing fits. All right, good. Number 3, turn off the news. You know, these fancy little logos up here, they're all over right now. I tell you guys, it's sexy, it's well edited, and it is addictive as all get out. Ah, that's Sven who did that. Yeah, very cool, man. Snail mail can go viral. Cool. So news, it's sexy, well edited, addictive. And you know the worst thing? It's crack for the mind. It lives on your willingness to release dopamine. Your brain, man, loves that stuff. Your brain drops dopamine whenever it gets that kind of rush. Drugs, sex, athletics, any of the good things and any of the bad things. We get that rush and we just want more of it. News is designed to be slick. Pundits are highly paid masters of BS, and I'll tell you, there's never been a time where there have been so many who look so convincing. You know, it might be the crawl along the bottom or the scroll of text and details and experts and 4x4, 2x6 grids of just person after person. And once the commentator feels one of them is either repeating themselves or slows down, boom, shift to another one to keep the dopamine running. And it's too high a price we pay. Your eyeballs are too valuable to give away. Don't be so cheap. Don't be such an easy date. It's a system that rewards you for what you already believe. I'll tell you one thing. If you insist on watching some news, turn on the other side of what you believe. If you're going to sit there and expose yourself to what you already believe, you're becoming a sheep in the choir, and it's the most dangerous thing you can do. Watching what you already believe makes you feel important. It validates your position, and it induces more negativity by extinguishing, that should have said extinguishing, by extinguishing the possibility. And that is frightening to think about, extinguishing any possibility. There's no room for that. We don't have the luxury. We don't have the luxury of a negative thought right now. We can't afford it. It's just not, there's too much of it out there. We have to be the lights. All right, I want to stick this one in the middle because this goes right on the tail end of maybe kicking off that news for a while. Sleep more and sleep earlier. This was actually shared on this group yesterday by someone who does serious, intense brain work on an international level. So this one, boy, I took this one to heart, and I kind of dug into every resource she shared about this at the end of it. The World Health Organization classified night shift working as a probable carcinogen. Yeah? How's that feel? You know what carcinogen means? It means it could lead to cancer. So look, if we're staying up late, if we're doing anything that requires brain power, thinking, or even just releasing dopamine, look what it says right there, you guys. Probable dopamine. Not even possible. Probable dopamine. It's too much. Heart health. High blood pressure leads to heart disease, leads to stroke. In the US, there's a stroke every 40 seconds. Man, put 40 seconds and a stroke in perspective in your mind. Strengthen immunity, sleep more, sleep earlier. Think you're down right now. You think you're down right now? You think you're feeling down right now, you guys? Add a sickness to this. Add a sore throat, a bad cough, coronavirus. Add any of that to how you're feeling right now. You're not even going to know who you are. 11 p.m. to 2 a.m., that's the immunity time. That's when the immunity system goes out and parties and celebrates. All right? So treat that time. Whatever it takes for you to be asleep. 10 o'clock, by 11 o'clock, for sure. Shut down. I know this one may sound like your mom yelling at you, and who cares? You know what? I'm taking risks. Doesn't matter. As far as your mood, insomniacs 5 times more depressed and 20 times more likely for panic disorder. Do what it takes to get yourself to sleep in a good way at a good time. All right, it's number 5, number 6. Sure, I'm going to quit counting. Let me just say it's the next one. Be the hero for your customers, you guys. And look at that picture on top. That's how we could show up. Doesn't matter. We are the jesters of this culture. We bring the laughs and we bring the arts. We can show up however we want. We don't have to be perfect. Prime, primped, curled, made up. Doesn't matter in the least. Be there with who you normally are when the rest of the world isn't what it normally is. You know what I'm saying right now? Nothing is normal. What if you show up in that wonderful way that you normally do? As an artist, as a comedian, as a singer, a magician, as a ventriloquist telling a message. The levity, the latitude that a ventriloquist has right now. Jeff Dunham's always done. I remember I used to do corporate dates with him when he was probably affordable. Doing dates with him, but he would slash and beat up the company, but it was never him. But boy, being able to have that voice of what's going on, put it into a puppet. What a gift. I mean, it's funny with all the winners on Got Talent shows around the world being ventriloquists. It's kind of funny how, what an amazing time it is to have that skill and now to be able to really speak to the voice of culture right now. Being the hero for your customers means coming from positivity, the possibility. You inspiring them with both. You show up as a hero without even doing very much. You'd be surprised how little it takes right now. They'll always remember how you made them feel. Long after this is over, long after this is over, they're going to remember how you made them feel during this time. And I'll tell you, with one producer, I don't want to say the name, but with one producer, I booked over $250,000 of shows in a couple years following something that was really bad. something that went down. And I stayed in touch during that time. And it all started with a $2 greeting card. It was back before I used to I love making my own greeting cards, but this was back in the day where I spent a couple bucks on one, just a sympathy card for something that was going on in this person's life during a time when something really bad was happening in the world. And it always went back to that moment, how I made her feel at that time when it was bad. So come from the positivity and the possibility, and let them always remember you as the one who showed up how you normally are when the rest of the world was anything but normal. And then be willing to risk looking extraordinary during a remarkably unordinary time. And you know what, you guys? It's actually really easy. It comes from watching that positivity to negativity ratio. It comes from getting good sleep. It kind of comes from everything I've talked about above. These are building in order here, if you haven't noticed. So good. Be the hero to your customers. And let me just say the next one. The next one, don't step out, lean in. I want to invite you before. Oh, I know. Hey, this is funny. Priscilla said that's when the ideas come through, Barry. Yeah, fine balance, right, Priscilla? Isn't it something else to think about what happens late at night? And here's what I know and what I want to at least challenge you to invite. Can that all time shift down so that your body's doing what it needs to be doing at that 11 to 2 o'clock time? Can you reprogram yourself with the power of positivity and negativity? Any of the other tools that the other rules I've talked about above. Can you move it so that it happens right when you wake up in the morning, when you're working out? When you set a time on your calendar, and we're going to talk about that in a second, when you actually intentionally decide this is my time for massive creativity, can it shift to not happening late at night? Yeah, it can. Of course it can. And it's wonderful. So don't lean in. Don't step out. Lean in. Back up. Edit. If this wasn't live, I'd edit that. Yeah, but who cares? Don't step out. Lean in. All right, you guys? When life throws you that curveball, short of contracting the COVID-19, what can you do right now? What can you do right now, short, that'll keep you clear of COVID-19? I don't know. You telling me you don't know? I got a couple ideas for you, and let's dig into these. What can you write? What can you record? What can you share? Promote? What can you inspire? What can you join? What can you lead? What can you touch up? What can you MC? What can you do? A lot of good possibilities there. Have you contemplated emceeing a virtual meeting for one of your past clients? They're all having them. Nobody's not having them. What could it look like to bring that to it? I'm touching on something that's kind of a theme here. I touched on at the beginning, and it's pretty damn real right now. How can you show up? The last few rules that I've talked about, everything above here is going to help you as these stack. Recovery from the fear is your responsibility, you guys. Not from recovering from the COVID-19. I'm not putting that on any of us. But recovering from the cultural soundtrack right now. It's always been the job of the jester, the comedian, and the artist. George Carlin, Smothers Brothers, Senor Wences. Let's go way back in time, right? I mean, what did his little hand used to do but pop the bullet? What did Tommy and Dick Smothers do except speak out about the cultural voice of Vietnam? I mean, it's pervasive. This is a new opportunity. It's nothing short of that. The question I have for you, are you willing to lean in and not step out? Because the only thing separating you from providing a cure is that false sense of safety that you get from not leaning in. It's a ridiculous thing to hold on to. I'll tell you something along the lines of that. Showing up on these, putting a lot of time into writing this. I'm not selling anything. I'm not here selling something. This is something I feel like I have a skill to do. This is something that I've done for 34 years in your exact situations. This is something that I could easily not do. There's a hot tub up there. There's a mountain bike up there. There's the best trails in the world right out that same door. I'm going to go mountain biking after this, but I'll tell you, putting in the time to show up and serve this community, it's something I know I can do, and I know it's so well appreciated, and I know it's so helpful. And for me, it's putting a stone into a lake that's going to send ripples out around the world. What can you do? What can you do to lean in and not step out? Next one, I want to talk to you about being intentional, because this is the jet fuel of coming out of this way better than you slipped into it. This is the jet fuel, intentionality. Listen up on these and find where they sit in your mind right now. The idle mind, it's always been the devil's playground. And today the devil wears a variety of such seductive masks. They're impossible to miss sometimes, be it food, be it those fancy news channels, be it Netflix, your iPhone, more food. It doesn't matter. Everywhere you look, there is some sort of a devil's playground that's wearing a mask that invites you in. Intentionality kills all that. So what's it look like? None of this stuff listed above right now, I want to tell you, is bad if it's intentional. All right? None of it. Some of it's better than others. I put more food on there because this world has a problem with food. There's no doubt. I don't know how many on this call, except for me, are still in their, I didn't put on my other camera, are still in their high school sized pants, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of intentionality. All right. So that is something that we work at. And I know I'm not going to accept that, oh, it's genetic. In my case, I don't know about yours, there may be something going on, but I have two brothers who are, I don't know, twice their high school pants. Doesn't matter. Genes aside, it's what we choose to do with our time. It's how intentional we are with that and what we want to do, what the outcome we want. And intentionality is the key to this. I told you at the top of this, nobody comes out of this same as it was before. That's not an option. So intentionality, this is a biggie here to decide who you're going to be when you come out of this thing. So none of this is bad if it's intentional. Intentionality demands a plan, or at least a conscious checks and balance system. If you're not a planner, if you don't live on something that I've shared with so many groups in this, it's kind of a life first, how to use your day, and I'm happy to share that again if somebody on here wants it, put it in the comments. But if you're not a big planner, having a conscious checks and balance system can help you so much, and that looks like accountability. It looks like being in touch with someone about accountability. So choose exactly what goes into the 7 holes in your head, and you'll choose your future. That's it. These things, the eyes, the ears, the nose, and the mouth, these 7 portals to our brain, to our heart, to our soul, to our stomach, to our bodies, they are what we decide. What we allow in here is what determines what comes out, what we create, the results we have, the impact we have in the world, how our business runs, how our clients see us, and how we show up from the second we say hello till we get the standing ovation at the end of the show. Everything is affected by these. So keep an eye on this, and the big piece for this, I want to make this important to you because, damn, don't accuse me of not having more fun than anyone on the planet. You can intentionally add random free time to your intentional day. That's an intentionality. Can you choose to do it for an hour, for 90 minutes? Just going to screw off. I'm going to play. It's a pretty powerful thing to put on an intentionality day. Good, you guys. Let's dig into, we're getting towards the end of these here. I think it may be 1 or 2 left. Number 20, and where are we at? We're 35 minutes. Perfect. That's where I wanted to be. Dump your goals. Dump your 2020 goals. Didn't he just say intentionality? Yes. And dump your 2020 goals, because there's a reason for that. Why stick to a plan when everything has shifted? It is nothing more than a portal, some sort of a path to shame and guilt, and not at all what we're doing here. Best practice during this time, work from a 1 week or a 1 month goal. Yeah. All right. We're here on a Friday. What do you want to get done in the next 7 days? Work on a 1 month or a 1 week goal. Way more realistic. And it's a path that leads to achievement and pride. That's what happens when you work on a shorter goal. Right now, it's a time of instability and uncertainty. It's no time to be saying, damn it, I'm not doing what I said. Ridiculous, yet I still hear people doing it all the time. Be ultra clear on your MINs, your most important next steps. That ties right into the step right above it. If you can practice a 1 week and a 1 month goal, every single goal you have, every action, every achievement you want to make has a most important next step. Getting super clear on that is important. I can do a training here next week if you'd like on most important next steps and what those actually look like in achievement of creativity, of business, personal life, health, responsibility. Each of those categories has most important next steps. And it's often the overwhelm, the overwhelm of all. I'll never get to a 10, so why even bother starting at 1? It's death. So let me just tell you, be ultra clear on your most important next steps as you do anything during this time. Support those around you to do the same. Be accountable to another human being. In the dark, moist sections of your brain is where a lot of secrets live, and secrets lead to scarcity. Secrets lead to hiding, non-accountability. So that moist area is where bacteria grows, right? If you look under a house and it's kind of moist, the ground is moist and it's dark, that's where you're going to find the mold. So get things out of your mouth into the ears of another human being, one that you trust and one that you have an agreement with for accountability, and use the power of accountability with another human being, being honest with yourself, and leave room to overachieve, all right? Don't set goals that stretch you to the limit. If you're looking at creating something that's a level 5, make the goal of having it be a 2, because when you hit a 3, 4, or 5, you're going to be patting yourself to the point where you actually injure your labrum. So don't set a 5. It only leaves room for you to fail at 4, 3, or 2, or 1. All right? Keep it in check. Be kind to yourself during this remarkable time, which takes me right to one that I really brought to this group yesterday, was this new levels of compassion. Everyone in your life, on TV, in your family, your relationships, everybody is making this up in real time, and to some extent doing the absolute best that they're able to do. And if they're living in a rigid brain, in a brain that's not flexible, not willing to look at other sides or consider any of the 9 rules we've already talked about, if you're living with someone in that place, you have to be extremely compassionate, because they're making it up as they go along based on everything that's always been the same. All right? You're here at least. I mean, we've got over 100 people here between the platforms, and you guys are willing to do this. We'll have over a couple thousand who are willing to do this, put the time into thinking different ways. And if you're not living or working or cohabitating or co-isolating with someone like that, know that they're making it up from the way things have always been, and that's dangerous. So be extra compassionate. Each person is taking this differently. Be willing to hear them. I heard Dr. Wayne Dyer, rest in peace, great speaker, heard him live a dozen years ago. He said something I never forgot. He said, when given the choice of being right or kind, choose kind. Especially now, choose kind. Do it. It pays off in spades, especially hard on those who are losing milestones. And what I mean by that, there are people right now who are losing massively important milestones in their life. My son upstairs, he's a senior in high school, no graduation. It's over, like the school year's over. They won't have that walk in front of everyone with the hats on and the whole deal, that celebration, the proms, the thing. And that's a small one. I mean, in the choice of life, that's a small one, but it's very real. So compassion is not saying, I don't even remember my grad night, which I don't. It's being in that person's reality and saying, God, that seems hard. Tell me what you're going to miss the most. It's holding that space for them to do that. Another friend who's been a high school drama teacher, he's affected, thousands of students, tens of thousands of students in his life. And again, with the stone of what those people have affected with acting, with being able to show up on stages, it gets into the hundreds of thousands and maybe millions, the ripples of the lives he's touched as a teacher. There was a theater being opened at the school, a new theater that was going to have a big ceremony for everything he's brought to the Sacramento area community theater in schools for this many years. Gone. Won't happen. And then we get into the health stuff with actually people's lives and their health. It's like a lot of people are missing milestones right now, missing their life. Be compassionate. Find the compassion within you and be kind to yourself. If all this lands on you, if this coronavirus, I mean, the funny thing is, if we get out of this neutrally, all it means is that we don't get really sick. It's a hell of a consolation prize, isn't it? That's as good as it can be right now, as we get out of this and don't get really sick. Know that if this does land on you, you're going to get pretty sick. So practice compassion for yourself, for others right now. One other thing that's really kind of difficult for me to talk about is, and if any of you have friends or kids who are under 20, this is literally the first time in their life they felt something to this level. Those of us who are older have had experiences like this. We've had things not radically different as far as impact on health and the world, the impact, the culture, society. For 20 and under-year-old people, this is a first. It's really hard. I posted something on Facebook recently that said the me generation is learning a new word, us. And it's hard. I mean, I wrote that after I was talking to my son, and I realized he was saying all this stuff to me about why he should go out and why he should be able to go mingle because he feels good. And I was like, oh. He was talking, but what I was hearing was me, 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 me. That's what it was. And that's what it is for people under 20, honestly. It is. It's been their world. It's been focused around them, especially kids. That's healthy. I mean, that's what happens at young kids. Young souls are brought into this world, and the one question they have is, am I loved, and is there a place for me? Before language, those are just human questions that the soul comes in with, and that forms everything. So as they grow, they mature out of that. But for under 20-year-olds, this is the first time that they've had to look at this. Find compassion for anyone under 20 because they're dealing with some stuff right now. And know that compassion is a practice. Please don't beat yourself up if it feels fake at first. This is probably one of the best places you can do that old adage, act as if. All right, I think the 10th slide here, I just made a quick grab bag. I wanted to run a few more things because I knew this would be getting long. Yeah, 45 minutes. Anyway, really good to spend this time with you guys. I'll run through these. These are grab bags. These are super quickies. If you're just like a quick start guide, watch less, read more, sit less and move more. Eat less, drink more. That's just water. You know, I'm not going to push anyone towards alcohol right now. Anything that mutes down the senses, unless it's on that intentionality list, right? You can do it. Have it on your intentionality list. Good. Critique less and compliment more. Accept less and choose more. Frown less and smile more. And then I touched on this a second ago. Find it within yourself to be more flexible than you are rigid. All right, you guys, it has been a complete joy to be here with you. I'm going to call that training end right now. Thank you so much. Hang on if you're on live. Let's go through a couple questions if anyone's got some questions. But for the training, we will chop this sucker here. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. All right. Yeah, man, things are rough. Thank you so much, Jason, man, touching into the common speak here yesterday. You know, I love Jason so much. I'm not even going to pre-read what he has up here. I spoke with a client yesterday whose father was sick in a nursing home. He passed away from natural causes. Yeah, she didn't get to say goodbye, man. Is that something else? You guys feel that for a second, right? Knowing that somebody on the other side of a forced wall is passing away and you don't get to go in and say goodbye. I want to share a picture with you. This rips my heart wide open. This is my wife and I went over to visit a father-in-law yesterday, or a couple days ago, and we begged to have them wheel him outside. And we had a couple-minute visit with him, and then we were told, the woman I will, from here forward, call Nurse Ratchet, came out the door and said, "You're breaking a rule." And yeah, very harshly, someone else wheeled him inside. Yeah, but here's a quick picture of my wife visiting her father right through a wall. Yeah. I don't know how much longer he has, but yeah, that could be the last vision she has of her dad. So, and I'm really sorry for your friend, Jason. Honestly, that's intense to hear about. Yeah, really intense. Yeah, thank you. So many nice people commenting on the training being helpful for them. I hope that's the case for everyone. And if you're on Facebook again, my system's not letting me into your it's really hard to not be able to see all these comments. Sorry about that. Yeah, AJ said my wife is a senior right now. Yeah, the same boat as my son right now, AJ. And man, it's a beast because that was a good time in life. And it's funny, that's not one of the hardest ones right now, but it's a tough one. This is good too. NJ, there's always room to go beyond your achievement. Thank you for that, man. You're not kidding. Love to hear more about MINS. Yeah, I'll dig into those on a training here next week, Christian. I'll put that on the list for next week early. It's super important. Let me get rid of something here. It's blocking me. Yeah. And if you guys have any more comments you want to drop in here, I'm happy to address any questions too, like how I can clarify anything I've talked about. MINS. I'm just in the high school pants. Sven wrote, Sven is skinny. I've met him. Sven's been in the studio. He came to visit California. I'm not just in my high school pants. I'm still wearing clothes that I got in junior high. That's so awesome. That's so cool, man. I know you're living in a kind of cool alternative way right now, man. It's good to love to hear an update on what you're doing. It's definitely not possible to open the creative channel. This is an interesting one too from Sven. It says it's definitely possible to open your creative channels and have that creativity come through whenever you want it to. Absolutely. Love that. Did I hit the right one on that one? Yeah, this one, man. This I want. This is from Steve, Comedy Magic. Shut off the news. Turn on some music. Work on your business assets. Amen, man. Because that's what's going to be there when this is all over. You know the ironic thing here? When this ends, did you guys notice, at least in America, what a golden goose egg this was? Handed. Here you go. Here you go. CNN, Fox, MSNBC. Where's my focus? Here you go. Here's a golden egg handed to you right when the world is tired of hearing. Yeah, right when the world is dead tired of hearing about politics. Here's a golden egg for you. Talk about this. And man, they grabbed it like crazy. And I'll tell you one thing, when coronavirus has moved on, when business is back to normal, a new golden egg is going to be handed in, and the media is going to walk on and take with it. Are you going to allow it to take your eyeballs and your time, your energy, your creativity, your impact you could have on the world? Are you going to allow it to carry that away as it moves on to the next thing? Yeah, don't, because that's what's going to happen. Late to the party, Hank? No problem. You can grab that on replay. Perfect. Oh, good. Dan Glogly's awesome, man. Find him on Facebook or YouTube, wherever he's at. He does these amazing shows at night. He's just digging into playing piano and bringing some joy in the world. All right, guys. That's let me get back to page 1 and just take a look. You know, I'm going to pop over to Facebook too. Alexis is better than NBC News anytime. I'm not sure what that means. And this is from Paul Gertner. What do you say? Turning off the news suggestion really, really helps. My wife thanks you. Yeah, Paul was in Showbiz Blueprint back in the earliest days. And it's funny, I still have that in the contract for new students. We sign an agreement of what we're going to bring and what we're going to take. And not watching news for 10 weeks is part of it. So that's really cool. Hey, let me double click this thing, even though I can't bring the comments from Facebook up on screen. I can definitely run through them. Oh, maybe I can't if I'm not here with them. I'm not sure how it all works. You guys, I'm going to sign off. What a pleasure and honor to be with you, spend this time with you. Thanks so much. I believe in all of you. I believe that entertainers, as I've said before, and I'll reiterate as a parting shot, this is our time. This is the time culture, society has always leaned into us to cure the ails of society, of mood, of mindset, and do your part. Show up. Do everything you can to make this to help us over the ledge so that the scientists, the doctors, everyone else can do what they need. Do what we need. Do what culture needs us to do and that we are so good at. I'll talk to you all soon, and I'll see you next week with some more good training sessions. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for doing your part. Bye-bye.